Een gesprek met Howard Gutman. Hij is de Amerikaanse ambassadeur in ons land. Een democraat en ook een goede bekende van Barack Obama. Ambassador Gutman, the dream has ended barely 2 years after it started. Can we say that?
I think it's way too soon to say the dream has ended. There was a loss of the House of Representatives. It was not a referendum on President Obama, and it certainly wasn't a referendum on the dream.
It's not a personal defeat for Obama, you say?
It was not a referendum on President Obama, and not a personal defeat. What happened today was really explained by two factors. First, unemployment in my country remains at 9.5%. That was a problem not created by this administration, but inherited by it. But yet, people don't want to know who created it. They want solutions, and there's a populist frustration. Yeah. Second, the incumbent party almost always loses in the midterms. Out of the last 16 midterm elections, the incumbent party has lost double-digit seats in the House 14 times.
But without losing majority.
That's because the reason you lose so many seats is because of the popularity of the president 2 years ago. 62% of our nation voted 2 years ago. If Barack Obama were on the ballot yesterday, 62% would have voted again, but only 38% voted.
But could we say that maybe the election of Barack Obama shows to have been an abnormality, that grassroots America is conservative, is afraid, is not that open?
I don't think it's an abnormality. And again, I don't think anything about yesterday was a referendum on President Obama. It was a message about we've got to do better on the economy. That's something he agrees with. Barack Obama's favorable ratings now are higher than either President Reagan's or President Clinton's at this point in their administrations.
Now, President Obama just has asked for cooperation with the new Congress. Do you think this will be possible?
On the issues of the day that really matter, if there's a particular threat, a particular problem that develops, my country can be bipartisan in those contexts. For sort of long-term political legislation, it would be harder, but no such long-term political legislation is in the works. All of that was done the first 2 years, largely because the administration, I believe, understood that there would be losses at the midterms because turnout would be much lower.
On the other hand, the press conference that the Republican leaders just have given, to me, sounded more like a declaration of war. The voice of America is stop excessive spending, they said.
There will be compromise on the budget.
There will be compromise.
There's always compromise on the budget. There has never been a budget easily passed in my country, including last year. So there's always compromise on the budget, but there's no legislative agenda coming up in the next 2 years to have a war about.
On the other hand, the historic reform of public health still has to be put in practice. Republicans could block that, and they have already announced it.
But they can't. The legislation necessary for the health care has been passed. The rest is regulation and implementation. No one can pass legislation undoing it because nobody's got a majority in both houses and an ability to override a presidential veto. So there's not a legislative agenda in the next 2 years. Having compromise is the essence of a democracy. It's the essence of a democracy in my country. It's the essence of a democracy in Belgium. It's the essence of most democracies. And that's what's going to happen on budget. But there's no great legislative agenda that was scheduled or that was upset.
And Mr. Ambassador, what do we have to make of this Tea Party phenomenon? Could we say that populist politics has reached the United States coming from Europe?
Populist politics has long ago reached the United States. It was a populist sentiment that helped to elect President Obama. But when you have 9.5% unemployment in my country, that means 1 out of every 3 families is affected by unemployment. So a percentage of that populist sentiment will grow angrier and angrier, not at President Obama, at incumbency. They want more results. That's why the Tea Party upset conservative incumbent Republicans, and that's why the whole movement was targeting incumbency. But it is not something that is
It's anti-Washington, anti-politics, in fact.
It is a cry for economic change that is supported in Washington. But, of course, you're going to lash out at government. But at this point, it had no effect on this particular administration's plans, which are already dedicated to lowering that unemployment.
Now, for President Obama himself, due to this defeat, will his position within the Democratic Party come under pressure?
I can't imagine. Now, again, I'm not here as a Democrat or a Republican. I'm here as an ambassador. But as an ambassador, what the model that occurred is the model that occurred in 14 of the last 16 midterm elections. This has happened for a very long time, and in many of those cases, the incumbent secured re-election. So I've mentioned both Reagan and Clinton. They both went on to be re-elected. It is simply that the voice of Americans said the economy matters. That message was understood before, and it was heard loudly again.
And are you still proud to represent this America that we have learned to know yesterday through the elections?
The America you learned to know yesterday was the America you knew the day before, which is an America committed to the transatlantic relation, committed to the ideals we both believe in, an America that's here to listen and learn, and then to work with our European partners on the problems that unite us, which are almost all the problems. So today there's no longer a that America and a this Europe. We are here together. We face the same problems of security. They go on planes through England aimed at the United States. Belgians on planes, that's a security problem we share together. Climate is a planet we share together. The problem of how Europe and the U.S. work to get the other countries onto climate. Economic recovery, we will either all rise together or we'll sink together. So there's no that America and this Europe. We are partners together, and there could be no more worthy partner that I could be proud of than America, or the right to represent America in Belgium, which I dearly love.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you so much.